Hey guys, what's happening? Brandon Warren, Locked On Twins, coming at you from Target Field following a 4-1 Twins win over the Houston Astros. Jake Odorizzi got it out 6, I don't know if you call it strong innings, but obviously found some things towards the end of his appearance that allowed him to be a little more consistent with his release point and overall outduel Dallas Keuchel on a tough night for the former Cy Young winner on the Houston Astros side. Brian Dozier reaches all 5 times at the plate with a single and 4 walks. And overall, just a strong night for Doge at the top of the order. Joe Mauer, another great night, I believe, reaching either 3 or 4 times. So trouble was Miguel Sano behind them, 1 for 5. Late scoring change gives him a single on the play that was initially ruled an error on Dallas Keuchel on the swinging bunt. And so the 0 for 5 becomes a 1 for 5 for Miguel Sano. So if you have questions, feel free to hit me up with them. This is Locked On Twins. It is a solo episode because with the late night game, there's not enough time to get home and get sticks on the horn. So we'll try to go 10-15 minutes here just real quick, and then tomorrow we'll be back with a full-length episode, including Lot Pod, Twinquisition headlines, and all the stuff that you love about Locked On Twins. So again, 4-1 win for the Twins. 3 runs for the Twins in the first 2 innings. 1 run, the only run for Houston early. And then the rest of the night, kind of a snoozer. Both offenses struggled to get runners on, move runners across, other than walks, as both pitchers really struggled with command. Brian Dozier said that the game plan with Keuchel was to have him work up in the zone. Always the plan with a pitcher who is a ground ball guy to get them to work up, because pitches down that start down tend to get even lower, tougher to elevate, as seen by Dallas Keuchel's career ground ball rate of 59.9%. So again, strong nights from Dozier, strong night from Mauer. Once the Twins got Keuchel out, they were able to get some of their left-handed bats into the lineup because there's all right-handed relievers in the Houston bullpen. So it is a nice way for Mauer to be able to manage where he can, get Eddie Rosario in the game late, get Max Kepler in midway through the game, especially with Ryan Lamar struggling as well. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them here, and we can try to fill out hopefully 10-15 minutes before I hit the road and head home to write my final recap of the night. But anyway, so beautiful night at Target Field from inside. Obviously very cold, but it sounds like the weather is going to turn warmer and then snowy over the weekend. So a little unclear of how the series is going to go with the White Sox coming in this weekend. I did see Lucas Giolito is expected to pitch, Reynaldo Lopez as well. So a couple guys who came over in the Adam Eaton trade expected to be up and being used. Zach wants to know, with Mejia being pulled early tonight, do you see him in line for 5th starter this weekend? I think it's certainly possible because obviously if it's Tuesday, you've got Wednesday and Thursday off. Friday you would pitch Mejia in that case. So I think that it would make sense for him to make that start on Friday. They did also get Fernando Romero into the game and 5 innings in his AAA debut. He obviously looks pretty solid as well. I think it was 0 earned runs, 2 unearned runs as well. So, I think Mejia's got a very real chance. With that said, tomorrow Phil Hughes is going to throw a bullpen. In addition, the throwing program will begin for Irvin Santana tomorrow in Fort Myers. His return is not imminent, but he's on the right track. I did see a question, thoughts on Logan Morrison so far? Obviously the results have been pretty flat to this point, not much in the way of production, but he's absolutely peppering the baseball when he's making outs for the most part. The first plate appearance today was a ground ball back up the box that was taken away with the shift, and I believe that one was 110 miles per hour. Then his single 2 innings later was 109. So he is hitting the ball hard. I wouldn't rule out the fact that maybe a bunt or 2 here or there could open things up for him as well. But at this point, I just think that it's going to have to be a trust the process thing where he just keeps hitting the ball hard and you hope that the results eventually come full circle. But I'm not worried about him to this point. It'll be nice to face a lefty tomorrow against Lance McCullers Jr. Obviously a very, very good pitcher. You're only going to face good pitchers when you face the Astros, in addition to the fact that they also have Brad Peacock and Colin McHugh, who we saw tonight, coming out of the bullpen. So there's 7 deep in starters that could start for a lot of teams. One question I see, are the shifts for Logan Morrison more extreme this year? I believe they are. And I think especially the 4-man outfield, which again, I asked Paul Molitor earlier today how quickly the that sort of thing could be. How do I want to put this? How quickly the game would have to adjust back to Morrison if he maybe bunted a couple times, or any player for that matter, because these shifts are ubiquitous, especially against the Houston Astros. So if you're playing a team that shifts like this a lot, how quickly would they adjust back with a few bunts? And Molitor said, it probably wouldn't take that much to see a team kind of reverse course if bunts became a regular part of the deal. But with that said, when you are a hitter like Morrison, you don't want to get away from your bread and butter, or you're in scoring position when you're at the plate. So I don't know. He did say though that he would like to see guys make small adjustments to hit the ball the other way, even just to keep defenses honest. So obviously, as much as there's the grip and rip, turn and burn, exit velocity, launch angle stuff, even Paul Molitor, who believes in all that stuff, would like to see some of his guys go the other way, if possible. He did concede, though, that a lot of times when you're facing pitchers the caliber of these Astros pitchers, you're not left with much of a choice. They're going to pitch you the way the defense is played, and so when you try to take what they give you, that means they give you nothing. So it's difficult to hit against shifts because of how you're pitched. So it's not as easy as it looks, and I mean the bunts all seem like a great idea, but ideas versus execution are obviously two very different things. I did see someone ask if we are enjoying the Fernando Rodney experience. Yeah, I mean, until it blows up and looks horrible, I don't see why not. But with that said, it's a little shaky. I think he's allowed a base runner in every single appearance so far, including tonight with one base runner. He also tripped on the mound on the first pitch he threw, so that was I'm not even sure what the words are for that. It was special. It was it's not something you're going to remember where you were when it happened, but I tell you what, if anybody has been at Target Field for a Fernando Rodney entrance, it is like the Seizure Robots episode of The Simpsons. It's scary with the music and the sounds and the marquees doing kind of these weird things. So I don't know. They may have to change it because I think some people are going to get kind of messed up with their eyes and that sort of thing, which is not great. I did see a question over under 40 saves for Fernando Rodney. I'm going to take the under just because I think the risk with him being 41 and not keeping up his performance level all season long makes it difficult to take the over on that. The Twins are good enough to have a 40 save closer if they were to have a closer, obviously, for the full season. But I do think that if Rodney is, as effective as he's been in his better years recently, because he's been kind of up and down, kind of volatile, there's no reason to not expect a 40 save season. If I was betting on it, I probably would not take that bet. I also do think Molitor may play some more matchups at times. I also think Addison Reed could vulture some saves. Ryan Presley's been really good, so he could probably steal some saves as well. Again, it might all depend on and hinge on matchups. So it really is hard to say what will happen in terms of if Rodney can get to 40 saves, which, this is a guy with 300 and I think 2 career saves now. So, people have been betting against him for a very long time, dating back when he was with the Tigers back in the early 2000s. So no reason to keep betting against the guy because he keeps proving us all wrong. Tomorrow, I believe... Oh, we got a question here. Thoughts on incorporating Kinley here during the homestand, possibly easing into leverage spots? I don't think they're going to put him in anything under 4 runs at any point in the first month or two here, and then it'll be a slow burn after that. But I didn't think he looked too terrible against the Mariners on, what was it, Saturday, I want to say it was? I didn't think he looked too bad. So I think Kinley, you can't have a 25-man roster spot going to a player who's not going to play. It just is not practical in this day and age. We see the Cardinals last night running out of position players. We've seen the Astros with only 3 position players and a huge bullpen, and we've seen a bunch of teams doing the deeper bullpens with the shorter benches. At some point, I just don't think it's going to keep working out that way. So they're going to have to find ways to get Kinley into tighter spots than they have to this point. Are we looking at a bunch of mid-season doubleheaders considering this weekend's forecast? Hard for me not to think so, but again, I'm not a weather expert. I'm not Too Tall Tom or any of that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm not feeling too positive about the Twins getting in all the games this weekend. It also helps that it's the Chicago White Sox who they play 18 times this year. So they are obviously going to play the White Sox an awful lot this year, and so they will have a chance to reschedule most of these games. Let's do this. Let's call it a wrap. I doubt people are going to hang on more than 10 minutes for a podcast. So, hey, you've been listening to Locked On Twins and watching Locked On Twins, the simulcast, part of the Locked On Sports Podcast Network. Check us out tomorrow when Sticks is back. Thanks. Peace.